Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to NoDQ&A video right here on NoDQ.com, as well as the YouTube channel and NoDQ&A videos affiliate, ringsidenews.com. The cat is talking in the background. I'm just going to have to do this. The cat is trying to sabotage the video. The cat is a Hulkamaniac. What can I say? She is so upset about what happened with Hulk Hogan and WWE. She was a fan of Tough Enough. That's how much she loved Hulk Hogan. Anyways, got your questions here. The big story, of course, Hulk Hogan being fired by WWE over the racist comments that were made during the private conversation he had that was part of the sex tape from almost a decade ago. And I got your questions here. First one today comes from Suplex City 909. Aaron, what are your thoughts on WWE breaking all ties and removing Hogan from Tough Enough? I felt WWE did what they had to do as a publicly traded company. They really had no other choice. They had to take action when this story broke. They needed to distance themselves from Hulk Hogan, and that's what they did. It's going to lead to some changes in WWE, obviously, with Tough Enough, and it's going to affect the company. The stock prices went down. WWE reportedly lost as much as $50 million due to the stocks dropping. It's definitely having an effect in the wrestling world, and it's affecting a lot of people that have been Hulk Hogan fans, a lot of people disappointed with Hogan, but at the same time, a lot of people defending Hulk Hogan. As far as my opinion on the situation, I'm disappointed by his comments like everyone else, but at the same time, what you say in the privacy of your own home or in a situation where you think you're being in a private conversation, people say things. People say things that are offensive. We're all guilty of it. We all say things sometimes when nobody else is around that are offensive. I mean, that is human nature. People say things that they don't necessarily mean, and they say things a different way than when they're in front of people in a public situation. With Hulk Hogan, he apologized, and it's gonna make an impact on his career. Now, to what degree, that remains to be seen. I got this question here from Child Incomplete. Hey Aaron, what are your thoughts on the Hulk Hogan situation? Being a big Hulkamaniac, has it destroyed your image of the Hulkster at all? I do feel disappointed, but at the same time, I know that Hogan's not a saint in real life. I know that Hulk Hogan, the TV character, and Terry Bollea, the person, are two different entities. I know that Terry Bollea has flaws. He makes mistakes, and that was exposed years ago. I mean, during Hogan Knows Best, you saw more of the real person and all the controversy with his wife, with their divorce, and the car accident with Nick, and all these other things going down. And Hogan did get exposed back then to some degree that this guy is not a real-life superhero. He's a human being just like the rest of us. So I do feel bad for him to some degree because he has such high expectations to live up to. You know, everyone thinks that Hulk Hogan is this perfect character, this larger-than-life superhero, and that Terry Bollea is just like the real character, the real American, saying his prayers, taking his vitamins, and he's not. He's a human being. He makes mistakes. And is he a racist? I mean, who knows? There are people that are defending him. There are close friends of him that are African-American that are defending him. Dennis Rodman's defending him. George Foreman's defending him. A lot of people are coming out and defending him that he's not a racist. And what he said was very poorly said, but at the same time, you know, he's not really racist, and it doesn't reflect him as a person and his true feelings. And I got this question here from the Walrus Inator. Hey Aaron, who do you think will replace Hulk Hogan as a judge on Tough Enough? Well, right now it's being rumored to be Ric Flair, and I don't know if that's the best idea because Ric Flair has had his fair share of incidents as well. I mean, Ric Flair's not perfect either, and he's gotten in trouble before as well, in addition to Hulk Hogan. They're talking about other people that are involved with Tough Enough, Booker T or Billy Gunn. My guess is it'll probably be somebody who's already involved with the show. So whether it's Flair or, you know, Flair's not involved, but, you know, Booker T or Billy Gunn or one of those people, I could see them becoming a judge. Or maybe even just have Jericho be a judge and get rid of the whole Jericho as the TV game show like host. To me, he could be utilized better on Tough Enough. But then again, I don't even care about Tough Enough. So whoever they replace, whatever. I don't think it's going to make a difference one way or another in terms of being interested in the show and making the show better. I don't really think replacing Hogan is going to do anything. And I got this question here from Mr. Wrestling 85. Hey Aaron, it may be too soon to ask this question, but do you think the WWE Hogan relationship is forever broken on a business level? And although whatever has been said public for years now, from my understanding, what other fallout do you predict? I think that eventually cooler heads will prevail, and once all the heat dies down, the Hogan WWE relationship will heal. Time heals all wounds, as they say. And there's people comparing this to Chris Benoit and WWE erasing Benoit from history. Will they do the same thing for Hogan? I don't think so. I mean, for the time being, they're obviously not going to mention Hogan or do anything to celebrate Hogan's career. They're just going to avoid mentioning him as much as possible, at least for the time being. Long term, I think over time, they'll start to mention Hogan again, and perhaps one day he'll show up on a WWE show again. Who knows? They might not bring him back in the way that they did. If they bring him back, they might just have him make a special appearance every now and then. I don't see it being near the extreme that they've done with Chris Benoit, because Chris Benoit, his situation was way different. That was murder. That was people being killed. And WWE even still has a relationship with Donald Trump despite his controversial comments. They still have Mike Tyson in the Hall of Fame. They still have Sunny in the Hall of Fame despite all of her personal issues. So with Hogan, there's this talk about them trying to take him out of the Hall of Fame. I don't see that happening. Hogan apologized for this, and he made a mistake. And, I think people to a degree are blowing it out of proportion. I mean, I totally understand WWE having to let him go and get rid of him and not associate with him for the time being, because what he said was bad. I mean, there's no defending it. But at the same time, people make mistakes, like I said earlier, and I think he will be forgiven, and WWE will open the doors with him again to possibly do business down the line. I don't think that this is the end of WWE and Hulk Hogan. All right, this one comes from Chris Romney 1720. Since there is oversaturation of content on TV for WWE, I feel they should have a 2-3 month off season. Not only to rest up the guys, but to think of well thought out and good storylines. It would make it more watchable, don't you think? There's been talk about this literally for years, maybe even decades. The idea of WWE having an off season and giving guys a chance to rest up and heal their bodies, and cycling guys in and out, that is a possibility too, where you have a group of guys for 6 months and then you phase them out, you bring in other people for 6 months, and you just go back and forth. But I don't see this ever happening. WWE has been doing business a certain way for decades, and their business model that they've had since they've gone national, that's been over 30 years that they've been doing things a certain way on a national level, worldwide level for that matter, and I don't see things changing. WWE can always bring in new people who are willing to work 320 plus days a year. WWE will be able to find those people that will work year round. If somebody doesn't want to do it, whatever, WWE will find somebody else to step in. That's the way it is. WWE will always be able to get people to work that full-time schedule, and that's their business model. That's what they've been doing. To them, there's no need to change. They're just going to keep doing things the way they're doing it, and do the best they can to look out for the well-being of the performers, which they have been doing. They have been making a better effort with the wellness policy and just keeping the guys healthy and getting them checked out. There have been some issues, with CM Punk and WWE, but overall, I mean, guys seem to be in better health than they were a few years back. The cat is still upset about Hulk Hogan. What can I say? All right, this one comes from Dave 451985. When Triple H finally gets control of WWE from Vince, do you think we could finally see Raw go back to a 2-hour format? Also, what do you think of replacing SmackDown with NXT so they can get on mainstream TV? Well, that's not going to happen. SmackDown is still a major property for WWE. If anything, maybe one day if NXT stays popular, they'll put it on television maybe as a 3rd hour for SmackDown. I mean, who knows? WWE could add more television if USA Network wanted it. To me, that would just be way overkill. I think it's best the way they have it. It's nice to have NXT on the network, and it gives you a good reason to subscribe to the network to get NXT programming. I think WWE should keep things the way they are. As far as the 2-hour format, that is a USA Network decision. USA Network is making more money by having 3-hour Raws, and the ratings have stayed consistent, and as long as they do, I do not see WWE and USA Network going back to the 2-hour format. I think it would be better. I would definitely prefer a 2-hour show over 3 hours, but when there's money to be made, they're going to do the 3-hour format, even if it does create too much television and it oversaturates the product. WWE is still going to do it if they can make money, and USA Network feels the same way. All right, got this one from the Dark 11. Hey Aaron, please answer in video. Question for you. If you were in Zack Ryder's shoes, where WWE doesn't see very much in you, but say you're in WWE, would you leave or go to TNA or Ring of Honor, where you would most likely get used? Well, you have to keep in mind that Zack Ryder's making a very nice living in WWE. He would probably not make as much if he went to TNA or Ring of Honor. I'm sure, at least for the short term, he would be able to get a lot of bookings and make a good living. But he's going to milk the WWE run as long as possible, because once it's over, it's probably over for good. It's unlikely that WWE would bring him back and give him another run. And WWE just has a different way of doing business now, where they just let contracts expire rather than flat out releasing people. So with Zack Ryder, he'll probably be around as long as he's under contract to WWE. And I think that he'll just be content collecting a paycheck and making money. And then once that run is over, he can focus on the indies and go from there. And I got one more question from CPW1978. Missed the replay that was supposed to be in video, but why do some superstars get to use their real names, and why doesn't WWE capitalize more on dynasties like Rotundo, Briscoes, etc.? Well, I know for the most part WWE wants to own the names as much as possible so they can trademark them, and that's why they come up with these names rather than using the real names. Sometimes, for whatever reason, whether the wrestler wants to use his real name and is able to work out a deal with WWE where he can use his real name. I mean, WWE tries to control things as much as possible. I don't understand why WWE doesn't capitalize more on the legacies and the dynasties. For instance, Joe Henning, why they don't let him use that name and go from there. Instead, he's Curtis Axel. I don't get it. Doesn't make sense to me, other than the fact that WWE just wants to own the name. But in that case, if you have somebody who's a second-generation wrestler, wouldn't it make sense to use their real name and capitalize off their family legacy? So I couldn't really tell you, other than the fact that WWE just wants to own the names as much as possible. So that'll wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thanks as always for watching. Subscribe at youtube.com/NoDQCAW. If you want to see the cat, go to youtube.com/thecatdiaries. She's having a hard time dealing with the Hulk Hogan thing. She's a Hulkamaniac. She's been watching the WWE Network with me, watching the old Hulk Hogan matches, and she's been taking her cat vitamins and all that stuff, and she's just having a hard time dealing with things. So let me know what you think about the Hulk Hogan situation. A lot of different opinions about it. Some people feel that WWE is being hypocritical about the Hulk Hogan situation when you had Vince McMahon going out on live TV and calling John Cena the N-word. Lots of different opinions about this. So leave a comment on the YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't already at youtube.com/NoDQCAW. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com. Lots of updates on the Hulk Hogan situation. Lots of different opinions from various wrestlers and other people in the industry. So check all that out. And with that being said, I will see you guys next time for another edition of NoDQ&A video.